um,
The things we should have thought about before we started this.
yeah. No, I can make us an intro.
No, like not like an actual intro, just like how do we start off our podcast every time?
I think we should start off with like a brief summary of the past few days
Yeah.
/ recap of the week.
Also
And
introducing ourselves would probably be no.
yeah, well, okay. So we can introduce ourselves. I'm David.
Hi, I'm Zoe.
Hi, nice to meet
And
you.
this is our podcast.
Yes,
If life were any worse,
called
we'd both be alcoholics by now.
or some like shortened variation of that
Of
long
that.
phrase. Like alcoholics. Not
Alcoholics
quite
Anonymous.
alcoholics. Yeah.
Not quite alcoholics yet.
Yeah, you're completely sober. I'm not.
I am completely sober at the moment.
Okay, so we should talk about tell me about your last few days and what happened to your head.
Okay, so a little bit of backstory. I'm a wrestler. I've been wrestling since my sophomore year in high school. Uh, I recently decided to come back and start wrestling again. Because I was invited to do some wrestling practices with a group of people. So I go to this wrestling practice and everything's fine. And then I start having an asthma attack, which I haven't had in a long time. They had the heater on, so I don't know what I expected because that tends to be what causes my asthma attacks. It's the heat in the room plus all the condensation from people sweating.
Is the heater on
So,
purpose? Like, do they do it for a reason?
yeah. Yeah, it's for cutting weight because they have a tournament coming up that some people are
Oh.
going to in Utah or Arizona. I think Arizona is the soonest one. I think that was supposed to be this weekend.
Were you planning on going before you had this bad practice?
No, because, well, because I'm living with my family and my dad is at high risk when it comes to COVID. He's technically out of our family, isn't supposed to know. Like, my mother and I had this agreement that he's not supposed to know that I'm wrestling right now. And so, yeah, I can't really go to tournaments right now.
So you're
But
having to like sneak around with the fact that you're wrestling again?
I just have cheer practice every day. As far as he knows, that's all he needs to know.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's pretty cool that you're that committed to wrestling.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's pretty irresponsible though on my part, but that's a whole other topic.
I mean,
Anyways,
yeah.
I was wrestling this kid for most of the practice. I was kind of lightly kicking his ass the entire practice, and then he got mad, and after I had my asthma attack, I was super tired and like out of breath the whole time, and he picked me up and slammed me on the mat on the side and head first. And then I was like completely incoherent, like people were trying to talk to me, and I was just like, uh, uh. So
Damn.
that's
That's a
scary stuff.
concussion.
That would be a concussion for you.
So have you
It's
pretty much
thriving.
just had a headache all day, every day? Or has it gone
Yeah,
away
for the most
sometimes?
part.
Damn.
It hasn't gone away, and even though I've been taking like quite a bit of ibuprofen, it hasn't really helped at all that I've noticed. So, you know, it's it's a slow moving recovery, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
Tell me about your week, your last couple days.
So the last few days have been pretty easy for me. I'm pretty caught up with work. It's near the end of the month, so I work for a company called Raise Your Edge. It's a like a poker training site company. And so I got into that. I was a poker dealer a few years ago, and I just happened to join some like poker Facebook groups, and one of the guys in the Facebook group was like the owner of one of these poker training sites, and he was like, "Hey, does anybody want to have a job as a freelance writer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I do. I can write and I know about poker." And so I applied for the job and got it. Started working with this really great company, and then I decided to do it full time. And so I found a couple other jobs with different companies in that niche, and eventually landed with the one I'm at, working full time for them. So anyway, I'm pretty caught up with everything. I've only got like a couple emails to do for the rest of the week, and so after that, I just worked out.
Yeah, that's sounds like a really good week.
Yeah, it was
Sorry, I'm
okay.
trying to
I
let my
mean,
cat in. I'm surprised
cat
you're
needs to join
so
the
like
podcast.
nonchalant about the end of the month because I know with like a lot of companies, the end of the month tends to be one of the most stressful times.
Yeah, for some people, definitely, but a lot of my work is earlier in the month. But yeah, there are definitely like scrambles going on right now to get YouTube videos out and stuff like that. But I don't do
Yeah, that
any of
makes
that.
sense.
I just have to, make
You have the easy
make the
part.
emails mostly. Yeah, and write some articles, do some interviews, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I wanted to start a podcast, because I legitimately believe that like I could get some like pretty influential people on this thing. Like if we actually decided to be professional about it at some point, which is totally fine if we aren't, but we could get
Yeah, if
some
we actually
people.
adopted professionalism at some point, then perhaps. Yeah,
Well, like
absolutely.
my boss would be like a crazy person to interview actually, because he's
Mhm.
like this multi-millionaire, and he's like this super like life what do they call it, biohacker, cold showers, meditation, all that stuff. He's super into like just all of that, everything that is like the entrepreneur cliche. But he's a super
Yeah,
cool guy, very inspiring.
that's really interesting, and I definitely love to pick his brain on some of that stuff when it comes to like health, especially just because I'm such an active person in general, and I think it would definitely be really cool to pick his brain about some of those things.
Right? Like I feel like having a podcast just gives you access to like so many different people's ideas, and like you can talk with people who are like smarter than you or richer than you or some combination, and really learn from them.
Yeah, which I think is like the most important and also the most interesting thing about having a podcast is that you're able to pull in these people with different ideas and different like life lines than you, and you're able to just pull in all this information that you would particularly get otherwise, at least not in the same way.
Yeah, it's like a totally different vibe when you're having a podcast. Like you feel like both parties feel the need to keep the conversation going just a little bit more. When you're talking to your buddy at the bar, like if there's a bit of silence,
Mhm.
it's fine. Like you guys don't care. But here you're
Yeah.
actively like thinking about what's the next thing that I'm gonna say, and what's the next thing that I'm gonna say, and is it gonna sound weird if I say this or something, and you're actually thinking about the conversation more.
Yeah, absolutely. And having an open dialogue is definitely much more beneficial when it comes to interviews and things like that, where you get more information and more of what you're maybe looking for than you would get in a general interview like setting.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
can get more information that you maybe weren't even looking for, but that you're happy to have taken in.
I would also just rather listen to two people talking than one person interviewing another person. And it's like just question, answer, question, answer. Like, how fun is that to
Yeah,
listen to?
absolutely. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
But
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts with like MMA fighters recently, because I've
but
just
yeah,
gotten super into UFC, and the like mindset of these guys is really interesting. Like they've got so many they think about their body and their performance in such a different way, it's just like crazy how much they break things down and like into a science.
Yeah.
Like I
But,
don't
like,
think
when you're
about
playing
that
a
when it
sport
comes
like
to
that
eating. Mm.
well, when you're in a professional setting like that where your body basically is what's your financial lifeline and also, like, your career's main point of whatever. It's where your body is basically your entire livelihood. It means a lot to make sure that it's performing in the best way that it possibly can. And so I guess like in a way you're always looking for just that little bit of edge on your opponent that even if you can't get that like typically just through training, you can find that in other ways through like diet and whatever and the way that you fuel your body or the way that you treat your body in recovery. It's just a totally different playing field.
Do you think that you'll go that hard if you get onto the wrestling team at Southern?
I'm not I'm not sure. I definitely think that I will take in a little bit more the importance of dieting for sure and put a little bit more on recovery and making sure I'm taking my body's needs very seriously because my career then will be a lot more important to me because at that point it's not just a high school sport where I'm just doing it to do it and I enjoy it. It's something that's actually like a career almost.
Right. Yeah, definitely, especially if you can figure out scholarships and stuff like that. For those who don't know, we are talking currently to the women's state champion in wrestling for the, I believe, 100-pound division, 106-pound division,
100
one of those
pounds
divisions.
for
100
freestyle and
pounds
Greco 2019.
after only what, like a year of experience?
That was after 3 months of experience. 'Cause
3
that was
months
the
of
first that
experience.
was that was like a month and a half. It was more than 3 months. It was like 5 months, but it was a month and a half after the season had ended. So,
So,
yeah.
got a
To say
prodigy
the
in our
least,
midst.
there wasn't a ton of people in my division because of the fact that wrestling has been such a slow-growing sport within
Hmm.
this state specifically, because when I started, there were no women's teams. The only schools in Oregon that had like real women's teams were Sweet Home and Thurston.
Wow,
And
only 2?
yeah, that really had teams. And I think McKay had a couple of girls wrestling and like other schools had girls wrestling like here and there, but not very many schools had an entire team dedicated to that. So the entire idea of like a girls' duel was completely new to the world, at least in Oregon, when it came to wrestling.
How
So,
many girls were in your division then?
like three.
Okay, so 3 went to state?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was it. And then I obviously didn't get the opportunity to go to state last year. State was canceled because of
Mm,
COVID, so
this was
it
2019
was
state,
yeah,
yeah.
it was 2019. But
Still,
yeah,
it's pretty freaking cool for your, you know, short amount of time actually doing it. I can't even imagine trying to compete in a jujitsu tournament after 3 months. Like, I barely knew what an armbar was. Like, it would have been a nightmare. I'm only on, like, month 6 or 7 now, and so I think I'm just starting to figure out a little bit of what I should be doing, you know? Like, it's like, for the
yeah,
first 6 months with jujitsu, like, you're basically just always focused on not getting submitted. Like, you
yeah,
can't try any offense because you don't know any, so you just wriggle around on the floor and try and not let them tap you. And
yeah. I
I'm
guess
only
that's
just now
where
starting to be at the point where I'm, like, a little more, I'm gonna try and attack a little bit more.
yeah, and the basics are definitely like the most important thing when you're starting out, and they'll drill in the basics to you over and over again. But I think what's different for me versus like maybe what your experience is with jujitsu is with wrestling. I was practicing every single day, 2.5 hours after school each day,
Mm.
There wasn't a single break. If we weren't practicing, we were going to tournaments. And I was probably in the peak physical performance of my life because at the time I was not only doing wrestling, but every day after wrestling practice, I would either go cheer at a football game or a basketball game or go to cheerleading practice. So
You're just
definitely,
extremely active. Yeah.
yeah, and it's definitely a lot different when you're already so active to begin with, coming into a sport like that, but also just the amount of drilling that you get done by having practice every single day, 2.5 hours a day.
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine if I'd done jujitsu with that much effort, how good I'd be right now. Because I was going, 3 days a week, maybe four
Yeah,
days a week, sometimes 2 days a week, just because of, it's in Salem. It's hard to get down there.
yeah.
Um, but I finally got to go back to practice here, and it felt so good. I had leveled up maybe one tiny little bar in Vegas, I felt like, doing the no-gi jujitsu at 10th Planet. I've had, like, the hardest practices of my life down there. Like, they were just all, like, purple belts
Oh,
and
wow.
above. Like, I was rolling with black belts and shit and just getting my ass completely handed to me, but I was learning,
Absolutely.
and then
Yeah.
they would do something to me, like, they would wrist lock me or take my back, and then they would kinda, like, help me out and show me how they did it if I asked,
Yeah.
and so it was
That's
awesome,
definitely
but
like part of the best way to learn is from people who are much more experienced than you. Getting your ass handed to you teaches you a lot more than winning does. Unless you win in the most stupid way possible and your coaches are yelling at you the entire time because you're acting like an idiot. But you definitely learn a lot more from losing. But I think it depends on the way that you lose. Because if you lose because you're not trying, then you're not going to learn anything from it. If you lose because you're
Mhm.
trying your hardest and doing whatever possible to try to match the person that you're competing against, then it's a completely different story. And that's some experience that you can learn so much from.
Yeah, definitely, and it motivates you. Just like, honestly, jujitsu has motivated me more to work out than anything has ever motivated me in my life, because I've never really had a reason to work out. I've just kind of tried to force myself to, but I've never had, like, a sport that I had to get in shape so that I could be good at that. Because I'm a
Yeah.
very competitive person. I was just never played
Mhm.
sports as a kid. I was very unathletic. Like, I've lost, like, over 30 pounds since starting jujitsu,
Yeah.
just on accident. Like, I didn't even try. It was just like, because I was working out more, because I was motivated, and that was, like, the only push that I needed. And now I'm, like, in the best physical shape of my life, which is not saying much, but it's saying something because,
But it's
you're
still
just working to
something.
improve on yourself, right? So, but
Like,
yeah,
even looking
it
at your
just very
stories and,
motivating.
like, looking at what you send me too of your runs and your run times, just, like, even the smallest improvements is kind of what can help push you forward. And I think the best thing for you and for anyone else when it comes to starting a new, like, physical activity and bringing physical activity into your life, don't worry about your weight because that is not going to drive you forward enough to keep you motivated. What's going to keep you motivated is seeing that small bit of improvement with your physical performance, seeing that
Mhm.
bit of strength that you can add to your routine, looking at like how much you can lift, for example, because I do some lifting, and then just seeing how much I can squat one week versus another if I'm continuously training. And it's just one of those things where it pushes me forward because I see I'm getting stronger rather
Mhm.
than like I'm losing weight or I'm gaining weight. Like I'm physically getting stronger and I'm becoming a stronger person.
Looks are very subjective, and half the time you can't even tell a difference in yourself when other people can. So why wouldn't we
Yeah.
go off, like, the facts? Like, you can
Mhm.
understand that, "Hey, I was able to lift 10 more pounds today than I could last week." Like,
Yeah.
that's cool. I've leveled up. Instead of thinking like, was I this fat before, or was I this, that before,
Yeah.
And I think it's so much more important that you just be able to perform or be able to do something. Like, there are some
Mhm.
fat UFC fighters. Like, there are some
Yeah.
fat guys in the heavyweight division, and they're
Mhm.
still at the top.
Yeah.
Like, as an example.
Yeah, absolutely. And the hardest thing, especially when it comes to working out, is that you will start to see some progress, like especially when it comes to the weight side of things. You will start to see some progress and then you won't see any progress.
Mm.
Your progress will become stagnant when it comes to weight for a very long time, or the progress will be so slow that you barely notice it, which is why weight as a motivator tends to be something that will bring people down rather than lift them up and keep them motivated. Because unless you're at a point where you're like, I need to do this, I need to be healthy, like, and the weight is something that's actually like showing you that difference in health,
Yeah.
I think that it's
Overweight. You're
more
talking about,
about,
like, people who are actually
yeah,
overweight, yeah.
yeah. But I think it's definitely much more of an indicator of your change and your progress, that you look at your strength and your agility and like how far you can run or how
Right.
fast you can run. It's things like that that'll be like, wow, like this is physically making a difference.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can also track your performance just in whatever your sport is. And, like,
Mhm.
if you that's the amazing thing about sports, honestly, is because, like, no matter what you look like, you have a chance to be the best if you get that good at that thing. Or with music, like anything, you know? If you just get to the top,
Absolutely.
people can't be like, "Well, you're ugly." Like,
You're like,
because you're at the fucking top. You're like, "I
yeah,
okay, nice one, second place." Like, you know?
yeah. I totally agree with what you're
Like, if I
saying.
can take you down and submit you,
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm fat, like, whatever, you know?
who cares? Like, oh, okay, my nose is big.
Hmm.
Say that while your face is in the mat.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's especially different when you do it in like when you're doing an individual sport versus
Mm.
like a team sport, because you definitely don't notice it as easily when you're playing a team sport, but when you're doing something individual where you are relying on yourself and your own strength, maybe words from your coaches, but anything that you are physically doing is only from you. Like, you winning that match is not going to be because your coach was saying something to you and opened your eyes to the world. It is going to be because you pushed yourself to your physical limit and
Mhm.
the other person.
Yeah, absolutely. I
I
don't
feel
know.
like these kind of situations are where I feel as though I bring out like a voice that I use for speech and debate, because that's something I did throughout high school. And so I just kind of noticed it while I was talking there, is that I was just putting in my like speech voice, which is what I tend to do when I'm talking for longer periods of time. So only
No, I
slightly
really
embarrassing.
appreciated everything you said. I just had to take a second because I'm high. But I
Gotta
like
process.
the only sports that I played in high school were individual sports. So I definitely get that. Like, I did
Yeah.
tennis and swim team. And, I was like the worst varsity guy on, like, both of them. I was just like just good enough, but not very good.
Like a floater, kinda.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
I got to go to tennis districts because one guy, like, got sick, and so I was the first replacement. But tennis
You
was
take your
fun.
wins
I
where you can
liked
get it.
tennis. I only
Tennis is a
liked
lot of fun.
singles tennis, though. I hated having a teammate.
I'm not good at tennis, but I think it's so much fun. It's like it's one of those
Yeah.
sports where I tried it out for like a month or two, because I try everything I can when it comes to sports, especially like if you can think of a sport, I've probably tried it at some point, but
Football?
that I've only done in like settings within school where like it was like a PE class and like people were getting together and doing that. So
Yeah.
I guess like that is one sport that I haven't like actually tried, but I did try tennis for a little while. I took some tennis lessons. Uh, I was not good at all whatsoever, but it was a lot of fun and I definitely enjoyed it. and it's something that like maybe I wouldn't be as good at, but I would love to try like racquetball or something like that. That's
Yeah.
somewhat similar, but also different in many ways.
Yeah, tennis was a lot of fun. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would. But I think I mostly liked it because we didn't have to do much like actual physical exercise. Like the track
Yeah.
kids would be running around the field and we wouldn't even have to run at all at practice. We just would start hitting balls. It was really fun,
Yeah.
but yeah, it didn't help build any muscle. I was really like skinny in high school. It's kind of weird. And then I got like too fat and then it was a weird pendulum swing.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about that. I'm worried about like the freshman 15 because I
Yeah.
definitely, as someone who plays a sport that where weight is very important, just worrying about the idea of, oh, hey, you could definitely end up gaining about 10, 15 pounds going into your freshman year of college is a little bit worrying for me, just because
Yeah.
I, during wrestling season, always had so much trouble staying at weight for the 100-pound division, which I know is surprising because of how much I weigh right now. But I was always like 104-ish during wrestling season, which was fine when I was wrestling guys. Because the smallest weight class in men's divisions is 106. When you're trying to
Mhm.
wrestle girls and you're trying to wrestle at that smaller weight class, I had so much trouble getting down to that weight. And now it's just a weight that I sit at naturally, which is good, but it's also worrying at the same time.
Well, what do you eat at home right now? Like, do your parents cook? Do they make like healthy meals?
Um, I had like teriyaki chicken tonight with rice, and then I had some skewered shrimp, which was really good.
Nice.
Normally, when it comes to my house, it's kind of more of a fend for yourself type of thing. And when I don't already have something in mind that I want to make, or I'm like, oh, then I have to heat up the oven and do this and do that, then I'm like, I'll just eat some vegetables or something like that. Like something that's easy, which is what worries me about moving to college is that I'm going to continue to have that mindset of this is easy, so I'm going to do this instead of doing what might be better for me.
I think yeah, most of it comes from like just partying and then eating bad food because it's easier, you know. But it is like
Yeah.
hard to cook in a dorm room. Like those things don't have like you have to cook in the kitchen and then bring the food back with you. Like it's hard. It's hard. You just start wanting to get those microwave meals and like
Some microwave meals nowadays though are so good.
yeah,
Like
I had one tonight that was like healthy. Like
yeah, like the
it was
health
just
there's like
healthy. It
a
was good
brand,
too.
I think it's Healthy Choice. They make really good ice cream bars. You know the ones
Oh,
that like
I
are at
just had their
Costco?
meal actually. That was healthy choice, but
Yeah, Healthy Choice makes some really good like microwave meals that are actually like full of nutrients and protein, which is very surprising when you think of microwave meals. You think of like frozen mac and cheese, but they're really good, and I honestly enjoy them every single time
they're
that I
only
have
like
them.
yeah, they're only like 2.5 to $3 too. So it's like it's pretty
Yeah,
affordable. And then they're like 300 calories, which is like
yeah,
kind of annoying for me when I want to eat a lot more than that. But
protein
yeah,
shakes. Protein shakes. Nutrition
I had
shakes
a
too.
massive protein shake today. It was very good.
I can't do protein powder though. I have to get like the pre-made protein shakes like in the little like cartons because protein powder, I don't know what it is. Every single time that I have something with protein powder in it, just makes my stomach churn. Which I
Hmm.
understand is the exact same thing as the shakes I have because I know that they also will have that like powdery stuff in it. But for some reason, my brain just disassociates the two.
That's interesting. We've got like one of those ninja food blenders, and so we just put like berries in there and then the protein powder and some peanut butter. Mix it all
So
together.
fancy. Oh,
Good
berries
shit.
and peanut butter.
No, it tastes good.
Berries and peanut butter. Like, not
Yeah.
bananas, but berries and peanut
Well, you can
butter.
do bananas. Bananas? I said bananas, dude. What the fuck? Ah, I should have just kept going. I should have pretended it didn't happen.
You could
Um,
have, but you
but
didn't.
Yeah, okay, so you can put bananas in there, but, like, also strawberries, blueberries taste really good with peanut butter.
I don't know
It's
what type
true.
of crack you're smoking, but peanut butter and strawberries do not go together.
Bullshit, I will prove you wrong.
I don't think so. I
I will.
absolutely
I
100%
will,
disagree.
I promise.
That is incorrect. Peanut butter and
What do
strawberries.
you f Yeah, okay, it's a bit weird. You put peanut butter on what, like, you can put, like, pad thai, you know? You wouldn't think
Mhm.
peanuts would go in that, but it tastes fucking good.
Yeah,
Like, I
that's
wouldn't
fair.
put peanuts in my, like, ramen, but then they're like, "Yeah, do it," and it tastes amazing.
Yeah. Well, like, it's different because it's a fruit. It's one thing to add, like, a savory flavor to another savory flavor. We're talking about sweet fruit and peanut butter.
You're passionate about this.
I am, like, fruits like, berries are supposed to be tart, and you're adding a tart flavor to peanut butter.
Strawberries and blueberries aren't that tart. They're just, like, they're sweet,
Strawberries are.
and so you tart? I would describe
They're not
strawberries
really
like a
tart,
ripe
but they are, like,
strawberry?
tart.
They're
I don't know, but I'm
tasty.
also the same type of person that doesn't really like chocolate-covered strawberries, so
Okay, then you have no foot in this debate. Oh my god. That's
okay,
a
but peanut butter is completely different than that.
You don't like chocolate-covered strawberries?
I don't know, it's
What about,
just
like, chocolate-covered bananas? Have you ever had that?
I'm not big on bananas. So,
What?
like, it's just it's not like a texture thing per se, because I like bananas, like yeah, it's a texture thing. Also kind of a taste thing. I'm
I
just
kinda
not
get the
super huge on
texture thing,
bananas.
like, I understand where you're coming
I
from.
like them in smoothies, it's just that, like
I hate the texture of celery. It's always made me vomit. Like, I hate
celery,
Yeah, I hate celery.
it's just stringy,
I hate it.
crunchy.
It's disgusting. Like, I That was mean. That was mean.
I I'm not the biggest fan of celery as far as texture goes, just because I feel like it always gets stuck in your teeth, and it's something that you can't ever work around. Like, there's no, like, "Oh, like, I can just, like, do this and whatever." Just, like, watching sorry, ADHD moment, but I'm just watching you slowly get more and more intoxicated
Oh,
as
yeah.
this goes
Nobody will be
on.
able to see this on the podcast, but I told Zoe at one point that she may have to take over entirely.
Yeah,
So
he gave me a pre-warning, just so I was aware.
No, I'm doing
But I
great.
don't know how to do any of the software stuff, so
Oh, yeah, I don't know how to talk to, Craig
oh, Craig.
when Craig is listening to us.
He has a little bear icon, at least he's kinda cute.
He is pretty cute.
Except for
Like,
the
he looks
fact that
like a
he's
Craig
also
too.
completely terrifying.
I was gonna say
Of
something,
course.
but then I forgot it.
Because I
What
had
were
my
we talking
ADHD
about?
moment. We're talking about bananas.
Oh, yeah, and celery. Yeah,
And
like,
celery.
one time when I was, like, 6 or 7 or something, maybe younger, I didn't wanna finish my food because mom had made, like, ants on a log, you know? It was, like,
Hmm.
celery, peanut butter. Another weird thing with peanut butter, you can put peanut butter on celery with
That I know
raisins,
that
and that's
people
not
do.
weird. Yeah,
That, like, is something
exactly.
that people generally
That's way
do, but
weirder,
peanut
in my
butter on
opinion.
strawberries is weird.
That's way Okay, but it's a combination. You have to understand that this smoothie is, like, strawberries, blueberries, protein powder, peanut butter, so it tastes chocolatey. Everything tastes chocolatey because of the protein powder.
Okay.
Anyway, um,
We continue.
so I just sat at the table for, like, a few hours refusing to eat it because wouldn't let me leave before I finished it. And so I was just sat there while my brother got to, like, listen to bedtime stories or whatever, and eventually I decided to try and eat it, and then I promptly threw up everywhere, and then they believed me.
Oh my goodness. I like don't have that much of a disdain for celery. I just get tired of it getting stuck in my teeth. It's super not helpful having braces right now, so I'm technically not even supposed to eat celery, but I'm also not supposed to eat a lot of the things that I continue to eat, so that really doesn't say much.
How long have you had them for, and how much longer will you have them?
I started my treatment in December of 2019, and I think I'm supposed to get them off in December of 2022.
Okay. So you
I'm
got a
not
bit.
exactly sure because I got these like metal bars inputted into my mouth. It's called a herpes appliance, and it's basically just to fix my overbite. And I'm only supposed to have that in for a year, and I got it put in July of 2020, and so I'm getting it out this July.
Hopefully.
But as far as the braces go, I honestly don't know.
Orthodontists lied to me so much about times and stuff like that. Like, if they said 6 months later, that meant like a year and a half later. Like, it was just bad. I had braces
I
for like
haven't lied
six
to
to
you yet.
7 years.
That is awful.
It was terrible. I had like a permanent retainer too, like this plastic thing that was
Mhm.
like glued to the roof of my mouth constantly. And they like fucking broke it out with like a little fucking hammer and like shit. Like
Ow.
while I was fully conscious, it hurt like hell. And yeah,
Absolutely
it
not.
sucked.
My little brother thinks he's like big man on campus because he'll refuse to use like the numbing agent whenever he has stuff done in his mouth, and I'm like, absolutely not. Hand that shit right over. Me any numbing agent you can possibly find. Laughing gas, absolutely. Right here. No, he thinks he's so
Laughing gas
big
gave
because
me
he's like
headaches.
I enjoyed it every single time. Maybe I should start huffing nitrous oxide.
Yeah, maybe I like that
Just
more than weed.
casually. Probably. But, you know, higher doses and user error might not contribute to a very good nitrous oxide experience.
You just OD on laughing gas.
That's a fear of mine.
Suck.
If I were to
So,
use it recreationally. English,
recreationally.
yeah, English words, phrases. It's my first language. Ah, really tried here. So 2020.
What was the year like? If you could rate it out of 10, what would you give it?
Like a 5. It was like in the middle. It wasn't the worst year I've ever had. It wasn't like a good year. It was just like a 5. It was average.
My 2020 was easily the hardest year of my life.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it was bad, you know? And I truly
Yeah.
believe that. Like, I think that this has been the hardest year of my life, but it's also been a year that I've grown the most in.
Mhm.
Definitely. And, I think that'll contribute to like later growth in future years, the shit that you go through. And so I'd
Yeah,
give it like,
absolutely.
yeah, 5. Fuck this year, but it's all right. Like,
5.
yeah, I'd give it a
I
5
thought
too.
about almost I was like, maybe I'll give it a 7. 7 is like, when like this sounds so bad. This is gonna be so bad. But like guys will ask me from time to time, they're like, "Oh, what would you rate my looks from 1 to 10?" Where like 5 is technically supposed to be average. You're not gonna tell someone they're a 5. So you say,
You're
"Oh,
gonna
you're like
say
a
like
7.5."
so yeah, I was gonna say 7.5.
Like that's what I would nicely rate 2020, but it truly was a 5. 5 is average, like
Okay.
most men that I've rated a 7.5. Some people are genuinely a 7.5, but if you're
So then you
genuinely a
would tell them like
7.5,
9.
I would normally say like 8.5. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're like an
Oh,
8.5."
it's more incremental. So if you're with somebody who's an 8, you're gonna say they're a 9.
Yeah, yeah,
Or like,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, give them a little bit of a boost. But if you're a 5, you get like 7.5. It's like a 2.5 point boost. Just
Do you
because,
like rate random people you see?
no,
They were just
absolutely
like,
not. I would never
yeah,
do that
okay.
unless someone asked me
I was,
to.
yeah.
And the only time that I've ever like been in situations like that where a guy is like one of those like pick me guys that's like, I don't understand why you like me. I'm so ugly. Then they ask you to like rate them out of 10.
It's like 4. It's like, it's
Yeah.
bad, man. It could be better. You
That's
should work on
why
this.
that's why I just try to avoid people younger than me now and also guys my age. I'm
Oh,
just
guys at
constantly in
18
that
are
cycle.
terrible.
They are.
Girls,
They're kind of
girls,
the worst.
girls mature faster. It's a fact. At 18, I was fucking. Oh my god, I was so like chaotic. I just like I dropped out of school. I like hightailed it to Europe for like 4 months. Like
Yeah.
did all this shit. Just like dropped out of college, went on road trips, left for Europe, did all that. Quit my jobs, everything.
The craziest thing is that I continue to date like younger guys and I think that something will be different. Like I'll be like, "Oh, this time it's not gonna end up badly." Like the maturity gap isn't gonna be an issue.
Guys at 17, 18 are just like uncontrollable, hormonal, just evil beings, man. Like
Yeah.
very self-centered people.
Oh, absolutely. But mistakes can be made. How did what did it feel like? What situation were you in when 2020 first started? Like, let's get into a little bit about like the transfer
Okay.
from just normal like everyday life to like when quarantine first started to really hit.
Are you asking me what was happening then?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was um over a year into a relationship with a girl, and um we were, going really strong. I was still living at my dad's though. And I was
Yeah.
working a dead end job as a poker dealer, and I was also doing like a little bit of freelance writing for like one company.
Hmm.
And um, then the poker room that I was working at closed, and so I lost my job. And so I basically just had DoorDash, which I did sometimes. And so I was like, well, fuck this. Like, I should be doing more than this. And
Hmm.
so I really started to throw myself at the freelance work, and then I also started playing poker professionally, because I am good enough to do that. I just hate it. Um, but I started playing like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of poker tournaments per
Hmm.
month, and I started my Twitch channel and I streamed it, and I did like this
Yeah.
24-hour live stream that at its peak had like 400 viewers. It was crazy. Like I
Well,
was like, yeah, I know. And like I was getting hosts from like these major poker channels on Twitch. It was really cool because I did this
it's
like
really
24-hour live stream and like gave shit away, and it was I was really trying to like grow my channel.
hmm.
But then I got completely burned out, and
Yeah.
I stopped playing and stopped the channel, and I was sick of playing, which
Yeah.
was weird considering it's what I but and I work for a poker company, but it's like I just got tired of playing. So anyway, the summer was really difficult. Had some like kind of personal things go down, and it was pretty challenging. But we got through it, and then with my relationship, it was kind of just tethering off there near the end. Like we both kind of wanted different things, and I'd kind of fallen out of love with her, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
Um, and so I ended things, just because we didn't live our lives the same way,
Hmm.
and there were some very like deep rooted things there too that I won't like go into, but you know, um, and it was tough.
Yeah,
Breakups suck,
yeah.
and
I
this
100% agree.
person I'd known for like 4 to 5 years as like a friend too.
Mhm.
So it's kind of weird losing a friend along with,
Yeah,
like, or not really losing, like we still talk sometimes, but it's a lot different, obviously.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's for the best, with like in that Yes Theory video, like every end has a new beginning, right?
Mhm.
At the end they said that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Matt
Um,
left Yes Theory. If the one person probably listening to this, I don't know how you found us, but you know, uh
Congratulations.
check out Yes Theory. Matt just left. He's like my total role model. Literally. Like I fucking love that guy so much. But
Yeah, it was a hard video to watch, but obviously he still had his passions within the business and with the ideas that came with Yes Theory and Seek Discomfort and the importance behind the brand that he had built and the ideas that he was living by. He just needed to be out of the spotlight to be able to accomplish some of the goals that he was looking towards.
yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm excited to read his book. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I definitely am looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, I like that they got him a typewriter. That was cool. But yeah, those guys are such examples of what like friendship and family should be, in my
Oh,
opinion.
absolutely.
And like the shit they did together and are still doing together is just so cool. I don't know. I
Absolutely.
wish I wish I had friends like that. Like I want to be around people like that. The
That
people
are like
who are
constantly building each other up and
every time I talk about entrepreneurship with somebody or I talk about like building businesses, doing things with your life, progressing in life in any way, or you talk with people who are super in shape and you're like, "Holy fuck, man, this is so awesome." Like
yeah.
every time that happens, I just feel super called out because I'm like enjoying it so much and I should be
Mhm.
like working towards making my life like that? And it
Yeah.
always lights a fire under me.
That's good though. And even if you feel like sometimes you're like not living up to your fullest potential, that can show you kind of lead you down the path that you need to move towards in a way.
Yeah. It's weird trying to think about what you're going to do with your life? I just can't even picture it. I can't picture the person I am in 20 years. I hope it's good, but
Yeah, I can't picture it either. I like
like
have an
I could
idea of
be
what I'll be
fucking
doing, but
yeah, I could be like a multimillionaire or I could be homeless, like to be completely honest. Like I have no idea. Is
yeah.
that weird? Like
No, but it's definitely like kind of showing of like how crazy life is right now and just like
yeah.
it can life can take you down any path and you honestly like you can't be for sure about where you're going to be going and what like the future is going to hold for you because like at least for me as like the person that I am, I'm a planner and having a plan written out for what I'm going to do will help me move towards a specific goal. And so for me that's policy making and I have this entire plan set out for the next at least 8 years of my life. But I don't know what type of person I'm going to be even 4 years from now and if that'll still be the same
Right.
goal that I'll have or even next
Could
year when
be.
I start schooling again. If
I mean, I think at our stages in life, which are fairly similar actually. I've never been to college, you've never been to college. So it's like
yeah,
it's pretty kind of similar, but um
pretty kind of.
hey man,
I'm
I'm fucked.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Continue.
Um
Continue.
yeah, I'm realizing like if I'm sound weird to me, I probably sound fucking ridiculous to you. But I was just gonna say, like, I don't think we need to know like I think we just need to understand like the levels to how much we want to impact the world. And the fact
Mhm.
that you want to go into policy making, whether that materializes into policy making or something else, like, it doesn't really matter that much because you should know that you're gonna have, like, a major impact on the world. Like, you
Yeah.
should understand that. If that's your goal, you should at least understand a little bit of that and know that no matter what, just trust in who you are. Like, you're gonna
Yeah.
do something. It's gonna be
Absolutely.
awesome. It's gonna be helpful.
Yeah. I think, like, this year, if any year, has kind of shown us that you never know what's gonna come.
Right?
I think that, like, at least for me, like, with how 2020 started out, I've always been, like, the type of person that is, like, watch the news periodically, but 2020 was the year that took me to a point that where I was constantly checking the news. Pours another glass of, what is it, Scotch whiskey?
Irish whiskey.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, it took me to a point where, like, I was watching the news periodically versus now checking it all the time and trying to always be up to date on what's going on. Because it started out with the wildfires in Australia. And
Yeah.
at that time, things were still relatively normal in the US, at least as far as like COVID goes. And then Kobe dying and just a lot of things that like continuously hit. And my life remained relatively normal until mid-March when everything was shut down in Oregon. And then I was constantly checking to see if anything was going to change and if things were getting better. And then this being an election year, on top of everything else that was going on, has just destroyed this country. It's been really hard to watch from the sideline. And I think that that's partially what pushed me towards wanting to go into policy making,
Mm.
is just seeing the lack of action that the constituents that we've elected have taken. And just
Yeah.
watching the inaction continue and continue and continue, and then the case pile building up as COVID-19 continued to ravage this nation, and just watching as more and more thousands and thousands of people died, seemingly not much was being done, at least not enough.
Yeah. Well,
And
I think to be honest, what it's done more than anything has exposed the level of trust that we can actually put into our politicians. We
absolutely.
we realize that they're quite happy to sit behind their guaranteed checks every year and their
Hmm.
numerous multi-million dollar investments and whatever. All these people are incredibly wealthy and they're making decisions for the people that half of them at least have a questionable level of respect for. And so,
Absolutely.
I think more than anything this year has just clarified some things for the American people.
Yeah, it's it's been a difficult year to watch from the sidelines. Um,
You keep saying by the sidelines. It makes it seem like you want to play someday.
I do. I think that like now more than ever we need to have a young face in politics and we need to have more young faces in politics because otherwise we're going to continue through this cycle of watching old fucks sit in their chairs, fondle the
With their
dicks of their
40, 50
stakeholders,
year long terms.
yeah,
40 to 50 years. Like, man.
which it just shows the comfort level this country has with a lack of change. When our
Mm,
government was formed with the idea that we're supposed to continue to change as time goes on and continue to make these changes that are supposed to revolutionize the way that we live in this country. But a ton has changed since we started out. And so,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
I
if you
want to,
think back, like, not even in 100 years ago, I think women couldn't vote, like the
Yeah.
1930s. I think that was that put into law in like the 1930s or like 1920s, 1930s. Anyway, like that's one person ago. You know, it was like
Yeah.
3 or 4 people ago. If somebody lives 100 years, 3 or 4 people ago, I think Joe Rogan says this or something, is like
Mhm.
3 or 4 people ago, like the like they had just come over or they just had the Civil War or the
Yeah.
Revolutionary War, you know? Just people are trying to like uphold a constitution that was written with like quill pens. Like
Yeah.
maybe that shit doesn't work as well anymore.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
maybe we don't need to listen to these old guys just because they were dead. Like maybe we could think for ourselves, you know.
Yeah. Try to change some shit up. Some shit
I
up.
love AOC. Like I don't agree with all of her politics, but I love AOC. She's so
Hmm.
sweet. Like a big AOC fan, and it really pisses off like my Republican ass family.
Yeah, but she's definitely like really inspiring to watch. Like seeing as how young she is and being a
Mhm.
congresswoman. Like
I miss Obama.
I miss Obama. I miss when we had a boring
Like
politician as a
right, like
president.
and that's kind of why I'm happy for Biden cuz
Yeah,
he's a little more like I'm I'm
he's
just
just a
a
boring old
slight
fucker.
amount more proud to be an American because Trump's not president.
Just a slight amount.
Like just like I mean, I'm still not proud to be an American. If I go traveling, I'm considering telling people that I'm from Canada,
It definitely will take away a little bit of the judgment that
right?
you would
Like I
tend to
feel
get.
like like the image that America's putting on right now is like Americans hate other people who aren't American.
Yeah. Well, like the
Like
best
just a little
comparison
bit.
to that is actually a conversation that I had earlier today. So I have a teacher. His name is not important, but we were talking about his family. His wife's a teacher. His son is in the same grade as I'm in. I've grown up with him, and his daughter's a couple years younger. And we were talking about like just random stuff, but I was talking about like if he was a country, what country would he be? Because he definitely represents the archetype of chaotic evil. Not in a
Hmm.
bad way, but he's definitely chaotic evil. And my friend and I had decided that he would be the United States, but specifically Florida. His son is chaotic neutral, meaning that he is also the United States, but he is Texas. His wife and daughter are both lawful neutral, and therefore they're Switzerland.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's just like a small example of like how even people in the US just view ourselves.
Mhm.
Like we already know that we're chaotic.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
definitely
seems to want to change that.
I mean, I'm just happy that we aren't having, like, a civil war right now, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely it's
Like, I talk to,
definitely
like, my Republican friends, and they're all, like, talking about guns and hiding in the hills, and, like, they're ready to go, they're prepping and shit. I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, what?"
you know, the
I'm not
age
trying
of
to go to
Trump
war.
republicanism has changed the Republican Party so much. It's almost like we've reverted back to like the old times. You know,
Yeah.
Cowboys and Indians.
I think both, like, the extremists on both sides just keep, like, driving
They
the
keep giving.
narratives almost, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely.
Like, most everybody I know is just a fucking normal person. Like, where do all these crazy people come from?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
there's, like, the fucking people who stormed the Capitol. Like, what the fuck?
I know.
They all were, like there was like a study on the people they caught. Like all of them were fucking. They didn't have jobs. They lived with their parents. They were deep into like conspiracy theories, like just radical lunatics.
Well, the crazy part about that is especially with like the age that we live in now, being that like the internet will make memes out of everything. But like the fact that just regular people, like a group of regular people who like weren't like armed with guns, like weren't like doing any crazy shit, like really. They weren't doing anything, like they weren't driving tanks up to the Capitol building. And yet somehow they were able to get into the Capitol building.
Right? Why was the security so bad? There was fucking one cop there.
Like what happened?
I
It
think the
was
guy who they caught who was wearing the horns without his
mhm,
shirt, they sentenced to like 30 years in prison or more.
good.
I can't remember the exact. He might have got life. I can't remember. But yeah, there were people like threatening to like kidnap and kill Hillary Clinton and AOC.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? You guys are insane, man.
Yeah. And they were even going after a vice president, Mike
Hmm.
Pence. They were saying hang Mike Pence.
Yeah, because because Mike Pence spoke against Trump for the first time in his life.
Yeah. I think that
I think he voted for Trump to get impeached. I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure
know.
Mike
I
Pence voted for that.
I didn't pay attention to the impeachment trial when it was happening because
I'm not 100%.
I knew what road it was going to take, and I knew that he wasn't going to actually be charged.
What does it matter? He's out now. He's not going to get reelected, right? Like,
Yeah. Apparently, he might be running for re-election campaign in 2024. So,
I mean, I hate the Republican Democrat system. Like, there are Democrats I would never vote for. There are Republicans I would never vote for. But there are also
oh,
both
absolutely.
Republicans and Democrats that I would vote for over other options. I lean Democrat just because social issues are so important to me.
Hmm.
But I think if I knew something about economics, I would think that what the Republicans were saying sometimes is right. But I don't really know a shit about economics, so
I think the craziest thing to me, and like the most like, I think it's really cool to me to see this. At least, like, did you pay attention at all to the Democratic primaries?
yeah, a little bit. I usually do.
Um, there were so many young faces in the Democratic primaries,
Mm.
and it was really impressive to watch young people get out there. And like, obviously, you can't run for president until you're 35, so it's not going to be like super young, but to see so many younger faces who aren't old fucks in their 70s running was definitely
But the old guys have them. We lost her. We lost her. She's gone. She's gone. And she's back.
yeah. So my browser cut out.
Okay. No worries.
I don't know what happened there, but back.
It's all good. It was funny. I was on a roll and then now I forgot what I was saying. But
Young people in politics.
yeah, dumb people in politics. Man, this shouldn't be like a political talk show probably because
Probably not.
I don't know enough to like I don't know, voice much of an opinion. I don't
It
really know
was
what I'm talking
just
about.
it was just such a big part of 2020.
Yeah, it definitely was. Definitely.
And
But it wasn't such a big part for like our personal lives,
No,
Like
not at
we just
all.
saw it on the news a lot, but in reality our like day-to-day lives have been
We're
pretty
unaffected.
unaffected so far. So as long as that stays semi normal, I'm happy with
Yeah,
whatever they're doing. Just as long as like our day-to-day life isn't affected. Like something
yeah,
like a war could do or something. Which I
yeah, I
mean,
agree.
how could we not experience a war in our lifetime? Like I feel it's gonna happen, but
Knock on wood.
knock on wood that it doesn't.
But,
Though I don't know. Like I think social media and like the internet has contributed or will contribute in the long run to more peace. Because as the
yeah,
world has more communication with itself, like communication equals resolving issues and peace.
mm,
Like if you think about it, like
yeah.
wouldn't that make our
Like,
world
so
more
many wars have
peaceful,
been
the more
caused.
connected we are?
Yeah,
I was thinking about that a lot the other day, weirdly. That's why I was like so into that because I was thinking about it recently. Like I think
like,
that the internet for all the shit it gets has really like contributed majorly to like humans becoming more connected.
absolutely. And, well, it's just crazy to see how many wars have started because of a lack of communication and because of miscommunication or a misfire or whatever. Just like watching things progress just because of something like that. I definitely
I don't
think
get
that,
how
like,
people just I was just gonna say with like war, I don't get how that became normal, that you're just suddenly like killing a guy that in normal life you would probably get along with. Like, all right, like if you were next door neighbors, you'd at least get along. But you're out here killing him because the politicians from your country want you to, you know?
uh, 4 main causes of war: militarism, alliances.
Cocaine.
I don't remember what the I is, but the I is something about like border stuff, and then nationalism.
Hmm.
Most of all, it's about fear. Fear
They
especially
want
of
what you
the
have,
unknown.
or they want to take you over, or they want you to do this or that.
Um, there was this video on a completely separate but also very similar topic that's kind of connected that I watched the other night, and it was about this guy had gone and visited North Korea. It's actually surprisingly easy to visit North Korea unless you're a US citizen, but he was talking about like just like the way that it was set up, and it was like a fully in-depth video where he showed like his trip there and like obviously only what he was allowed to film, and the tours were very controlled. Takes another hit. uh it was really interesting to see almost how set back North Korea is, because
Hmm.
if you watch that video,
I've watched
almost
a
looks
lot
like
of North Korea videos.
almost looks like North Korea is still set in like the 80s, or the like
It
this like
really
just
does.
so much further back. Like it's not as
It's
it
the
doesn't
Hermit
look like
Kingdom.
Tokyo. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like Beijing. It doesn't look like any of the major Asian cities. It doesn't look like Dubai, you know. And
I
it's
mean,
just it's
when you look at the globe, North Korea, like when you look from space, North Korea doesn't have lights. It's the Hermit Kingdom. It's like I read this book called In Order to Live by Yeomi Park,
Mhm.
and she was someone from who escaped from North Korea. And I highly recommend it. Like, it's such a good book. And it made me
Yeah.
cry. You know, the struggles that she went through. You know, she's in her like mid-20s now, so it's all very recent. And then she's, you know, now got this YouTube channel and she talks about North Korea on it. Like, she learned fluent English. It's just like she's such an inspiration. But the shit she went through was horrific in that country.
Yeah.
Just horrific. Like, it's modern day slavery there. And the entire nation is enslaved.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, their leaders have come to the point where they're almost like representative of gods for their people, and they just hold so much power, not only like physically but also just like within the minds of the people.
The
and
power of that psychology, yeah, it's insane.
and all the
Like the
imagery within the country too, it
Mhm.
continues to feed into that narrative.
And like their pictures, if you pass by like a picture of one of the Jong-uns or whatever their names are, like you have to bow to it. You know, you have to get off your bike and bow and then keep going, and they're all starving. Everyone is starving. Like, you know, they don't get supplies from the government. They like eat berries and raw like bugs and shit just to survive. It's just insane.
Crazy. It's just crazy to me that there's a country that's so cut off from the rest of the world even today. I
Right?
mean, especially today when our world is so connected and where pretty much any bit of information, at least here, is at our fingertips with our phones or with our laptops.
Mm. Well, it's
There's
like
still,
they're
like, even without North Korea, there's still many countries where the media is controlled, but
Mhm. I was gonna say, like, North Korea is a different kind of third world country because they're
yeah.
third world by the choice of their dictator. The other countries are third world because 'cause they're fucking poor and terrible governments, but this is a strong government, and it's ruthless. You know, it's
Well,
scary.
developing nations are truly just still developing nations because of the fact that they don't yield a specific product that's interesting to countries with more power.
Well, there's gold.
'Cause they would get
There's
they would
gold
get
in
money for
Africa, though.
infrastructure.
There's
If
gold in
that were
Africa.
what if they had like oil, for
Yeah,
example?
yeah, okay. Yeah.
It would be something completely different. If they had found like a specific oil reserve in one of those like very poor developing African nations, then countries with a lot of money would be very quick to hop on getting infrastructure in place so that they could extract it.
Mm, yeah, like, the money behind oil is insane.
I mean, look at Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Crazy.
My friend knows, like, a Saudi Arabian multimillionaire kid through, like, some exchange program, and he's
Mhm.
always, his friend's always, like, buying Ferraris and shit and going on massive cruises. He has his own yacht.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking crazy. Like, his
He
family's
gets that
that
kind of
rich
money.
off oil.
I mean, it's a huge industry.
Yeah.
Good thing they're trying to push for electric cars, but
Go
it's not
Elon,
making
I
enough of a
guess.
difference. Go Elon. That dude's
Go
thriving.
Elon. Dude, what did he name his son? Like, some math formula?
I have no idea.
He named his son, like, a math formula. It was, like, X something.
Let's take a
Forget.
look here. Name of Elon Musk's child. There is no way that he actually named his kid that.
Yeah, he did. XAEA12. It's pronounced XASH-A12. That poor fucking kid. Like, imagine your like souls floating around up in the universe, and then you get called down, and God's like, or whatever entity you want to believe in, it's like, hey man, so you're gonna be fucking rich as shit, but your name's gonna be XASH-A12 because your dad's a weird fucking robot. Like,
Rest in peace to that kid. That poor kid.
but how poor is he? You know,
I mean, yeah,
he's
but
gonna have this
that
incredibly wealthy life.
just imagine the bullying as a kid. He's probably like privately tutored. He like
Who's
who
gonna
am I kidding?
bully Elon Musk's kid?
Yeah, you make a fair point. The iGen is
So many.
terrifying though, so you never know. Generation after Gen Z, those fuckers terrify
Is
me.
that what they're called?
I think they're called the iGen. Unless that's what Gen Z
iGen?
is called.
Dude, who makes up these names? I
I don't
want to
know.
know.
What
Like,
is
they're
the
so
generation?
stupid. Yeah, we need a producer to look shit up
Oh, they're
for us.
Generation Alpha.
Generation
Like
Alpha?
Generation Beta.
Yeah, like, what are we then? I
Yeah, Generation Alpha are all kids born
feel like there's
after
a lot of beta
2010.
fucks being born these days, though. Like, kids are
I
growing up
know.
beta. Not gonna lie. Like,
No, it's
just a little bit.
bullshit.
What's
Being
bullshit?
Gen Z, but very obviously not being Gen Z.
I
Honestly, it sucks for any of the people that are born between like 2000, like between like 1999 and like 2003. Because
Is
like
that when the cutoff for Gen Z is?
Gen Z, I think cuts off at like 1998.
Oh shit, so I'm a millennial?
Uh, let's check
I'm
really
not
fast before your
I'm
ego gets
99.
too big.
I'm 99. Am I a generation older than you?
Oh,
I don't
you're
know if
Gen
this is
Z.
gonna work. This feels wrong. No.
You're Gen Z for sure.
No, I'm
But
not. I think I'm a millennial.
what what are the years? Stop typing faster than me on my phone.
Oh, okay. It
Oh,
says
lady.
1997 through 2012 or 2015 is Gen Z. So that means I am Gen Z.
Yeah.
Damn.
Rest in peace, all of your dreams.
I thought I was gonna be a millennial.
Actually, I have a friend of mine. He's 19, his girlfriend's 23, which is fine, but his girlfriend is she's such an interesting person. She's a very sweet girl. She's such an interesting person. I was playing Minecraft with the guys that lives with them, and she's in the background, drunk off her ass, like blackout. And this is my first interaction with her. And she gets on the mic and she's talking to me and she's like, "Oh, like how old are you? Blah blah blah." And she's like, "I am literally a cougar." She's like, "I'm 23 years old." She's like, "I'm an old motherfucker." She's like, "I could be his stepmom." And she's just like going off about how she like feels so weird about dating this younger guy because she's a girl. And I'm just, oh my goodness.
That's really funny.
It's just like it's definitely very weird to be at the older end of Generation Z.
Yeah. I guess I'm at like almost the cutoff.
Oh, almost, not quite.
I think of my brother when I think of Gen Z, who to be fair is 18, so but he is a moron.
See, I don't really think of anyone, at least from like my graduating class, as being like Gen Z. But I don't think that we're millennials either. No,
No.
we're just kind of in that in between area. I don't
No,
know.
I think you're just Gen Z and you're not happy about it. That's what I think. I think you need to just get
Gen
over
Z,
it.
remember that.
Yeah, but I think I'm somewhere in like that middle point where it's like millennial or Gen Z. It's
No,
like
you're Gen Z. Sounds like you're just a Gen Z and mad about it. But I truly think that like there's definitely this in between stage. Like there's like definitely a group of people that are in that area where they don't really have the identifiable characteristics of like Generation Z, but they don't also have the identifiable characteristics of millennials, and they don't really classify
identifiable
themselves
characteristics.
just like in general, like just like stereotypical millennial or Gen Z things. Like Gen Zs are like crazy freaking kids who are trying to kill themselves and doing crazy shit, while millennials are like lazy and whatever and have no drive. It's just like
The Gen Z humor, definitely.
Gen Z.
But like if you think about it, like some Gen Zs are like 9 or 10, so like,
Yeah.
you know.
I think it's much different though when you become much older. Like as you get into like point where like you're middle aged, difference between you and like other people in your generation seems much less prominent.
Mm.
Because with my family especially, it's like my parents are both on the cusp of being like my mom's almost a millennial and my dad is almost a baby boomer.
Mm.
My mom was born in the late 70s, my dad was born in the late 60s. So it's interesting, like neither of them really care about their generation, and obviously it's much different now because it gets mentioned so much more often.
Yeah, weirdly.
Because it's a
It's
part of
like
like everyday humor, but
memes, man.
memes.
Memes drive all this shit. Memes are the
Yeah.
reason. Fuck.
Those are the reason I refuse to identify with my own generation.
Yeah, but we do pick up on the memes though.
We do.
Like your entire second account is just memes. So
And
not to
selfies.
call you out, yeah. Selfies too, but mostly memes.
There was actually a TikTok I posted earlier today, which is completely accurate to self
You want to plug? You
relationships.
want to plug your TikTok real quick?
No, absolutely not. Well, it wasn't actually my TikTok. It was just a TikTok that I posted to my spam account
Oh,
that came up
okay.
on my For You page because it was calling me out. We absolutely don't need to plug my TikTok. But
I don't even have TikTok.
it's a very unhealthy form of social media.
Dude, I spend all my day on my phone. Like, it's bad. Spend like
It's
8
already bad
hours a
enough.
day on my phone.
I think to me like the scary part was when I'm in an app where all like our entire cheer team can talk to each other.
Yeah.
And I woke up from my nap to like everybody congratulating me for being class vice president on the app. And there are
Big congratulations, by the way.
oh yeah, thanks.
Everybody,
Responsibility.
senior vice
Still don't get to
president.
speak at graduation. Fine. We're all fine
Maybe
here.
well. You've got like plenty of time. Our senior class president like quit after a month. This
Really?
buddy of mine. Yeah, his name was, shout out to Hassan Al-Tabani, because this motherfucker ran for president, won because he's like popular and charismatic and can give good speeches. And then he decided it was too annoying to be in a class with the teacher we had, which albeit I quit because of that teacher too. But Hassan realized things sooner than I did, so he quit. And
Oh,
I
wow.
can't blame him, you know? And then the vice president was the president. Gave the
If
speech
only.
that I didn't even go to. I didn't even go to graduation, but
You didn't go to graduation?
no. Dude, I didn't care.
It's fair. It's very fair.
I was already
Do you
I
know
was already in community college, so it was like on one of the days when I had class, so I just went to class.
where this recording's gonna go to?
YouTube, I was thinking.
Oh, I just mean like the recording itself. Like, where is it gonna be transferred to?
I mean, I think he just DMs me with it. Like he's a chat bot.
The chatbot.
Shout
You're
out to
gonna
my
have so much
guy,
fun editing this.
Craig.
Shout out to Craig.
Yeah, maybe I can edit out the parts where I look stupid.
Maybe
Keep
you
a
can
good.
just
I
edit out.
probably fucking most of it, but
Takes another hit.
we're already in deep. I didn't even think this thing worked. I couldn't figure out how to turn it on. I got it today. And I didn't know that you had to press the button. This is important. I didn't know that you had to press the button 5 times to turn it on.
How far into
And
your
so I'm
cart
sitting
are
here
you?
thinking this fucking thing doesn't work. Not very much. I'm still coherent.
No, but like, how far into the cart have you gotten from getting it today?
Not much. Still looks
It's
about the
good.
same. Yeah. No, I don't smoke that much. I don't have a very high tolerance, unfortunately.
Can't
I mean, I
really.
guess it's good though, because you can save it. Doesn't like
Same.
I had this one friend who like he was actually a really good mixed martial artist. He was like fucking great, but he smoked all the time.
My best friend will go through a cart in like less than a week.
He would smoke a cart in a day sometimes, he said. And I believe him.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was bad.
I'm having a great time with this.
Dude, I want one of those right now. That sounds so
It's
nice.
squishy. It stays in my purse.
Yeah,
This was
as you
honestly kind
should.
of a smart decision. He actually, hold up. He
People
matches my
invest in
keys.
squishy toys. Invest.
My keys.
Dude, he does.
Squishy boy.
Man, he's even uniform. This man. Pokeball. Oh my god. If you guys could see
Cool.
this. She is a nerd.
Got a little Goku on there and a Pokeball. Oh my
Oh yeah,
goodness. So fun.
we've talked about 7 deadly sins, I think.
It's so good.
Right? Like it's one of my favorites that I've seen. Have you seen Fate?
No.
No? Wait, did we talk
I thought it
about
was
this?
boring.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're wrong. It's just
I'm
you're wrong.
sorry.
It's okay.
Just couldn't get into it.
I loved it. I liked how it was loosely based around like history, but not really.
Oh, you know what you love?
Hmm.
Shoot, what is it called? Italia. That's what it's called.
Italia?
Italia. It is the one of the stupidest animes I've ever seen. I don't know what it's on though. Italia. Um, basically, the countries within the world are personified as people, and it takes place during different like world like wars and stuff like that. But it's really
Okay,
stupid.
that's pretty cool.
It's so good. I don't know where exactly to find it right now. Hold up. I'm gonna look and see if it's look and see. I want to see if it's on Funimation. The episodes are
Do you,
like super short too.
do you mind if I go to the bathroom real quick and I'll cut this part out?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Why is the search not working? Give me access to the search. Tap Talia. Oh, they have it! Oh my goodness. They have all of it. Do they have season 2? There's so many seasons. How did I not know about this? Oh my goodness. This is the best thing ever. When he gets back, I'm giving him my login information for my Funimation account so he can watch Hitalia. Because, so good. It's so stupid. The episodes are each like 3 minutes long because the intro is like a minute. It's really good. Not that he's gonna keep this in the episode anyways, but I'm just talking to myself, which is pretty cool, I guess. I'm super glad that this is currently what I'm doing. There's so much. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy. He's a Cancer, by the way. Imagine being a Cancer.
Okay, I can hear you now.
I'm gonna send you my login information when I can remember what the password is to my Funimation, because it has the entirety of Hitalia. It has the entire series on this app, and it's in
I've heard of
English.
Funimation.
The English version of it is honestly freaking immaculate.
Okay, I'll watch it.
If I can remember what my password is. I like have a pretty decent idea of what it could be.
Your password?
Yeah.
My password is like all the same thing or some variation of that thing. Like pretty much 90% plus.
I think I can log into it on here. That way I can check my password. Some big brain, right?
Right? Yeah.
As long as my password isn't saved on this computer.
I just have all of mine in like a big Google Drive document.
That would be smart, but I don't. Okay, and then I know my password.
Did you find it?
Julio. Good. I'm going to send you my account.
I'll just read it out over the podcast like someone starts leeching off of your Funimation
No.
account. Would that be honestly, it would be a fair reward if someone actually listened to us talk for like 2 hours. Should get
I
something.
have up to 7 screens on Funimation because I have an extra special account. Reminds me I need to go into the app.
How many people watch off of your Funimation then?
I don't think that many. I think my ex does, and I think that's about it. Not sure. Yeah, I have Funimation Premium.
You know, my ex still uses my Hulu account, so I get it.
But like to be fair, it has up to 7 screens, so maybe it's 5. It's a lot of screens.
Cool.
Italia is so good. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, you need to check out that show. If you don't check it out after this, I will come to
You'll what?
Monmouth.
You'll come to Monmouth
and
fucking hip toss me?
Yeah.
Pin me? Fuck.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I bet you could. My wrestling is terrible, to be honest with you.
You also weigh a lot more than I do, so.
I do have 100 pounds on you, yeah. But it's not like it's 100 pounds of muscle. It's like 100 pounds of some like fat and some muscle.
I have an unpopular opinion.
What's your unpopular?
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Red vines that have been like sitting out for like 2 days are honestly better than like fresh red vines. But like you just open the package.
Like slightly stale red vines.
Yeah.
You know, I definitely agree that they do last long well. Like they do preserve well.
I guess
But
they're not better, but they do just like hit different.
yeah, I could go for some red vines right now. I wouldn't say no to some red vines. Okay, you guys can't see this, but this is a serious piece of artwork that Zoe LaPlante is showing us. Not
It
only
was
is
not serious.
she
I'm also realizing that the eyes are totally uneven,
she's a
which
D2
is a common
wrestler
theme.
and she can draw.
E3.
And she's got a purple-haired avatar-like with horns creature
She's like
that
a
looks super
demon.
cool.
Her eyes are
Demon,
totally
sorry.
uneven, which is super common in my drawings. Like, hold up.
Uneven eyes.
Let's see. Oh, her eyes are pretty even, actually.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say.
Oh, this one here. Common example.
Okay, those are a little off. They're a little off, yeah.
But you
Still,
can't, like,
like,
notice it. Like, from here, you can't tell. But, like, when you're, like, really looking at it.
okay, but you should see me draw. Like, I can't draw, so.
Oh my gosh. I just, like, sometimes I just. But, like, even from back here, you see how.
No, I can't actually.
I'm giving up on art.
Why? What the
I'm
fuck?
joking.
Good. Oh, would you get a tattoo? Have we talked about this?
Would I get a tattoo?
Yeah. You said
Anytime
you just didn't
soon.
want it to be anywhere visible, right?
Well, like, I just don't want one anytime soon because of, like, the only
Yeah.
one that I really want is one that's a spot that's, like, a pain in the ass to heal, and
Mm,
so I'm not, like, super worried about getting a bunch of tattoos right now. I have
yeah.
my entire life to get tattoos.
Right, like I'm torn. I could go either way. I could either maybe get like one tattoo or I might just get a fuck ton of random tattoos. Like I might decide
I
at
thought you
some
said you
point that
wanted a
it doesn't.
sleeve.
Yeah, I do, but it's such a like jujitsu cliche. So like it's literally in those like jujitsu starter packs, like an arm sleeve is like one of them. I don't know. It's so true. Like when I went and trained no-gi, like 75% of the dudes had an arm sleeve. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but, like, arm sleeves are common in general with people with tattoos.
Yeah, I guess it's just a stereotype. But nevertheless, I probably do want to get one. I just don't
Do
know
you
what
not have
of.
any tattoos right now?
No. Which I feel like I'm in like the minority of like 21-year-olds without a tattoo.
Absolutely.
But I feel like I'd be a tattoo guy, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just get a fuck ton one weekend.
Get bored, just get a bunch of
I'll just get
tattoos.
I'll just get really drunk and you can drive me to a tattoo shop and I'll just spontaneously choose a tattoo and buy it and get it put on myself.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, like date goals right there. It's like
Absolutely.
drive an extremely intoxicated person around getting tattoos.
Oh wait, I do remember what his name is.
Whose name?
The wrestling coach at Southern Oregon. Someone just texted me and asked me. He said it was imminent. He needed to know the name of the
Hmm.
female wrestling coach at Southern.
Are there different coaches for male and female?
Mhm.
Damn, it's interesting.
That's how it is, like, with most colleges.
I think it'll be super cool for you to train with like a bunch of other girls.
Oh yeah. Especially because they have a couple other girls that are, like, actually at my weight, when normally I'm training with people who are either dudes that are at my weight or girls who are way heavier than me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
you'll
think
really
like the
get to see
craziest.
like. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the craziest thing is that like we got this entire like team of girls together last year for wrestling after basically it was just me, the only person on the team the first year I wrestled, but yet still didn't have anybody in my weight class to wrestle once we did get a team.
So you're just wrestling boys. You said you competed in some of their tournaments
I was actually the first girl at my high school to ever in a duels match.
against a guy.
Made history. Mhm.
Pretty fucking cool.
First girl in my high school's history to win a men's varsity duels match.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking impressive. Okay, the dab kind of ruined it, Gen Z, but
It's some cool stuff.
I
Started.
just wish I'd been athletic in high school, man. I missed out on some like really good years. I wish I'd been pushed to like do football.
Could have did wrestling.
I could have. I
Could
just I
have
had
done.
no interest in it. Like I thought I wanted to be a fucking musician. Like I was just sat in my room like playing guitar all day. Like and then I realized I was not going to ever be good enough to make any money at it, and so I just started doing different things.
I know a I know a guy like that. I
I know a
actually
guy.
I dated a guy for a very short period of time who was like that. Like he was athletic, but he didn't play any sports. He was just like invested in his music. No, ever. He was one of those people for sure. But he was also super religious. The music thing was not why it didn't work out.
I was really religious when I was like a freshman in high school. I was very Christian.
Which is
Crazy.
surprising seeing you now.
Yeah. I think I saw a lot deeper into it than most people. Like
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I told you, but I like at one point I was like into Bible quizzing, which is really fucking weird to say, and I don't usually tell people this, but I was like actually one of like the top 10 Bible quizzers in the United States. I memorized an entire book of the Bible. Yeah, okay, so I memorized an entire book of the Bible. Oh my god. And I could recite it like word for word, right? Like an entire book of the Bible, like 800 verses. And I could recite it word for word with 96% accuracy. And so I went to like Minnesota for like the international competitions and shit. And I did really fucking well. Um like they would just quiz you on shit. They'd ask you questions and you would like jump on like a censored pad and the first person to like jump off their pressure pad gets to answer the question. It was highly
So
competitive.
like Bible trivia, like a game show kind
Yeah,
of setup.
so they would start reading a question or a quote, and if it was a quote, you had to like finish the quote. So they would start reading a quote from like one of those 800 verses, and the first person to jump off their pressure pad gets to answer and gets the opportunity to win points for their team. If they get it right, if they get it wrong, they, get points deducted. And so you would know what the quote was within like the first two words, and you would
I
you would
think that
jump, yeah.
that is perhaps the cringiest yet almost most impressive thing I've learned about you so far.
Um, yeah. So when I
Like
get obsessed with something, I do pretty well at it. But I've been obsessed
like
with some really weird shit.
the dedication is like really impressive and like the fact that you got that far, just the topic.
Well, my family was really religious, right? And my home life was not great, and so I
Yeah.
compensated with being very involved in religion and being very involved in Christianity, and it was kind of a all my friends were there because I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
That was like my only friend group was Christianity, so I have a lot of reasons why I think it happened.
Well, yeah,
But
and
at
it
the end of the day, like I was faking
makes sense.
things, and the turning point was when my grandma died, and I vividly remember, and I feel kind of bad because I can't remember if it was her, but I'm 80% sure it was my mom who said something to me about grandma not believing in God, and so she probably wasn't going to go to heaven. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I start really thinking about this shit. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell the story since it's on a podcast. But um so my grandma was an incredible person, and she wasn't like my biological grandma, but she was like
Mhm.
my grandma, and she was the only grandma I ever knew.
Yeah.
And she was like a leading scientist, and she had this syndrome where her like hands would shape up like this, and like she
Mhm.
lost all kinds of feeling and shit. And she did so much research on herself that she like revolutionized treatment for this disease that she got, but eventually it overcame her and took her life. But she contributed a lot to like the research on it. I'm like incredibly proud of her. And so, and then to be told that she wasn't going to heaven because she didn't believe in God, she's going to hell. And I'm just like, this religion doesn't like no longer makes any sense to me. And I started to realize a
Yeah.
lot of the other things were ridiculous, like the prejudice against homosexuals and the prejudice against, you know, people having sex outside of marriage and prejudice towards all these things. And I'm like, I don't agree with any of this. Like,
It's
what the
like the
fuck does any
shame
of this mean?
culture surrounding religion.
It's
And
super toxic. People telling other people how to live their lives. Like, leave me the fuck alone, man. Like, what?
yeah, people live. Love thy neighbor.
Love thy neighbor as yourself, right? Like at the end of the
Mhm.
day, that's what's important. Do you want to be told what to do all the fucking time? No? Well, then don't tell other people. Like,
Yeah. I have a question.
all right, shoot.
Okay, do you think as your high school self, if like say you like didn't like say you went to my high school, but you were your
Yeah.
high school self, like you were as you were in high school, do you think we would have been friends?
Yeah. Honestly, I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I was a lot less mature, but I think we would have been friends. I think you would have friend zoned the fuck out of me, probably. That's what I think. Definitely. Like, I would have been friend zoned as fuck. You should have seen
I
me
don't
back
know.
then. I was fucking skinny.
I've looked through your Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty bad at the back.
Uh, I've dated. I've made some interesting choices with dating, so let's just say that like to me, even if you weren't your best self in high school, it wouldn't have mattered.
Really?
Yeah, but if you were super religious in high school, it would not have. It would not.
No, I was super religious around like the ages 13 to 16. My grandma died when I was 16, and that's when I really I quit. I led worship at our church like twice a month with like my band, which I say that very loosely, but we thought we were good, and we would lead worship twice a month at our little church. Um and it was fun, but I couldn't do it anymore after I had that like revelation. What are you showing me?
No, not that.
I can't.
It's still too bright. I just turned down my brightness. The
Oh, I see.
braces.
Yeah, yeah. Way back when. I had braces when I was 18, so yeah.
The same life as me. Same struggle. Braces.
Have you ever kissed someone with braces while you also had braces? Like, I've heard, like, that shit can get entangled. I never did it.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I hated
Trying to
having
like
braces.
trying to think back, and I don't think that maybe one guy had braces.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one.
I still had braces when I was, like, I think, like, a couple months into being 19, I think I had braces.
Really?
Yeah, and then I finally got them off. Yeah, I was 19, and I finally got them off, and it was just, like, the greatest thing ever. I was like, "Holy fuck." I'm
You're like
so
the world
happy.
is so different now.
I had them for, like, 6 years. Like,
Yeah.
I was always,
I'm
like,
kind of
just the
lucky that my
skinny,
teeth
nerdy
weren't
kid with
that bad.
braces. It sucked. That your teeth weren't that bad?
Yeah. Oh, apparently he's a men's coach too.
Oh,
That's
cool.
why he was asking me.
Oh, is this, the other guy who was thinking about going down there with you?
Yeah. He was like, "Is the girls' coach named Joel?" Like, yep.
That'd be really cool, though, if you guys could go down there, because then at least you'd have, like, one friend. Is his girlfriend also gonna move down there?
No, I don't think so. I think she's planning on going to OSU.
Oh, shit.
Like
Here's to
that's
long
she's the only
distance.
reason why if she stays in state, then he's probably either going to go to Corbin or
Oh, okay.
Southern Oregon, but he doesn't want to go to Corbin. Like he says that they have a great wrestling program and that the coaches have been very encouraging of him going there, but that there's a lot of reasons not to go to Corbin. Like
Well, it's a Christian fucking school.
you're required to take like Bible study courses, you're required to go to like monthly mass, you're required to like have a specific curfew if you live on campus. Like the curfew's like 10 o'clock.
Well, they're fucking Christians. What do you expect? Have you ever been around Christians for, like, a long period of time? These
I
people, I
dated
fucking
one.
tell you. Oh my god. Well,
I,
I mean, yeah.
I had an interesting conversation with this guy that I dated that was a
I would
Christian.
love to. Please, please go for
So
it.
he like doesn't think he's that religious, but he's pretty dang religious. The point where he said that I could choose to be religious for him. Like I could choose to like start believing in God for him. But
Did you?
that's not no. Obviously I was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But he and I were talking one night and uh I say something like, and this kind of connects into what we were saying earlier. I was like, oh yeah, love thy neighbor and all that jazz. Then he looks at me super serious because we're on FaceTime. He looks at me super serious. He goes, do you know the rest of the verse? I was like, what? And he's like, do you know the rest of the verse?
Can you fucking quote it, Zoe? Can you
I was
quote it?
like, no, I don't think so. And then he's like, then don't say anything. Don't mention it.
Dude,
Just,
why would he say that? Like,
just, uh,
that
you
doesn't
know,
make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
he got so mad for no reason, and then it was just really awkward. And then we like kind of like, yeah.
Did you break up
And
with
the
him?
thing is,
Were you like,
no,
this is
not
done?
because of that. No, he actually broke up with me because I refused to not hang out with my guy friends. Because he gave me an ultimatum where he was like, "You need to stop hanging out with your guy friends unless it's in a group setting." He said that unless it was in a group setting, that he didn't want me hanging out with my guy friends because it wasn't respectful to him.
Bro. Dude,
And he
I
was like, "It's
get
not that
that.
I don't trust you, and it's not that I don't have enough comfort in myself. It's just a respect thing." And I was like, "Well, if you trust me, and you will trust that when I'm hanging out with these guy friends who are just my friends, that
Right.
it is completely platonic."
Okay, I can relate to that because my ex was the same way. Um, I went like just as one example, I went one
Mhm.
time to go have coffee with a friend that I'd been like best friends with this girl for like 2 or 3 years while I was like very religious. Like she was very religious
Yeah,
and like we were in the band together. We like quizzed together. We were on the same team, whatever.
yeah,
We were very, very close, but it was completely platonic, like always.
mhm,
Like always
absolutely.
was completely platonic. And so I go to get coffee with her and my ex got so bent out of shape out of it. Like she was annoyed about that for days. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, "I'm sorry. Like I wanted to do
Yeah,
this and I did it. I told you about it. I told you where I was going, when I was going to be there." Like
mhm.
it's just one of those things where you can't breathe. It's like, you know, like leave me alone. Just trust me. That's what a healthy relationship is anyway. It's like trust.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, People like that just drive me crazy. And it came to the point where, like, at this point, the only standards I have as far as like a relationship goes is that they have to be driven by something, they have to be passionate about something, at least. They have to not be clingy and be comfortable enough with themselves that I can hang out with my guy friends and not have to worry about them.
So pretty fucking reasonable expectations. But
Those are my only
unfortunately, there's
expectations.
a there's a lot of guys who don't give a shit what happens with their life though. And that was like
I
the
know.
first one you said. Like it's crazy.
Mhm.
Dude, you got to figure out your shit right now. You're in your 20s,
Yeah.
bro. Like this is the shit where you decide whether you're going to be a loser or a successful person for the rest of your life.
Yeah. This is where you decide if you want to follow your dreams or be a fucking accountant.
Bro, right. Who wants to be an accountant? Who wants to sit at a fucking desk in a fucking cardboard box for 9 hours a day, fucking type?
Just
Nobody wants to do that.
yeah. I
I just
yeah.
it makes me so angry that people do that to themselves.
Well, yeah, and
Like
like the
they
thing
like
is like
sad for
there's
them, you
nothing
know?
wrong with living a boring like whatever life if like you have like other things outside of your work that keep you, you know, moving forward, but I just think it's like I
It's
don't
like
know.
going back to our other conversation, which nobody listening to this will know about, but we were talking about like how some people are driven on different levels. Like some people want to just be a normal 9 to 5 guy and have a family and a white picket fence, and like
Yeah.
if you those are the kind of people whose entire lives become their children. Like those are the people who obsess over their children's like stats and stuff. Are you drawing on your forehead?
No. This is no.
What is
Absolutely
it?
not. I it's a pen and I wrote on my hand because I wanted to see if it was a color that would have been better for the hair color of that drawing I did the other day, which I'm realizing it
Oh,
definitely would have been a better color, but it's fine.
what was that a drawing of? Just you made that person up?
Yeah, it's like the same with pretty much any of my drawings. It's like just something that I pull out of my head.
It
I
was
just
really
start
weird
drawing.
when you brought up North Korea. It was really weird because literally, um, 2 nights ago, or maybe last night. No, but I think it was 2 nights ago. I had a dream where I was like in North Korea, and I was like, it was extremely vivid, and I woke up like thinking I was still in North Korea because
That's
I was
scary.
like, yeah, I was like a tourist there, and then like some shit went down and they were like killing everybody. And I was like, I'm a tourist, and then I got killed and I woke up.
I have a lot of zombie apocalypse dreams.
Me too. I have weird zombie apocalypse dreams.
Me too.
What are yours
And there's
like?
always some weird side plot line going on. Like it's always like a
Okay.
zombie apocalypse, but this is going on. Like the last dream that I had like that was where like I was forced to choose between two guys who were like really into me, and they're two people that I know, and I ended up having to like choose between them because they were both flirting with me, and I like ran away at first, and then I ended up choosing one of them, and it was so weird.
Are these two guys who are currently like into you that you're like you feel
No,
like you
no,
have to
no,
choose
not
between?
at all. Just random
Oh,
part of my
okay.
dream. As you know, Dreamscape really do be like that.
Oh yeah, you can think of some weird shit in your dreams. You're like, what the fuck am I thinking about?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that one of the guys was like the old version of himself that like I had been into at one point. Like because he has become a
That's
person who
interesting.
I absolutely loathe, but there was a point in time when like he and I did have like something going on and he was a really cool person to
Mhm.
be around. And in my dream, he was that version of himself that I actually enjoyed.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Now he's a fucking e-boy who smokes cigarettes.
Nice.
I really hope he never finds this podcast.
That's what I'm thinking about, like, my entire friend group right now.
No, it
We
should be
need them to
fine.
just be total strangers, people who like to listen to background noise or whatever.
Absolutely.
Shout out to you people. It'd be
Shout
funny
out
if we
to
got, like,
the
10 v if we got, like, 10 views on this, it'd be weird. It'd be like, "Fuck, man, there's,
if we
like,
got
8
10
people who
views,
watch this shit."
I'd be so excited.
Dude, I'll probably listen to this back. I'll listen back when I'm sober and, like, cringe at myself, but
I'll listen back and cringe at my voice. I hate the way my voice sounds so much.
no, I like your voice. I hate the way my voice sounds on podcasts.
Your voice sounds really good.
What are you talking about? No,
Sorry,
it
that was
doesn't.
weird. That was a weird way to say it, but your voice sounds really good. I like
I
the
mean,
sound of your voice.
I don't mind that you do. I'm just surprised. I hate it. It's terrible.
Everybody hates the sound of their own voice, though, to be fair.
Is that true though? Does the fucking Rock hate his voice? Like I bet
I
he's
don't
like,
know.
I'm fucking awesome as shit. I'm the Rock. Like
Well, like, that's kind of how I think about, like, does Morgan Freeman hate his voice?
no. Oh my god, that man has a dulcet tone. Holy
Yeah,
shit. Fucking love Morgan
crazy.
Freeman. Did you ever watch that movie, the South African rugby team movie with
No.
Morgan Freeman as Nelson Mandela? Oh, it's such a good movie.
Mm,
When Morgan Freeman plays Nelson Mandela, it's so great. You would like it too.
sounds
You're into like
interesting.
politics and shit. You know about
I
Nelson
probably
Mandela,
would. It would probably
but
be
like
something I would be into.
you know about his whole thing. Like he was imprisoned for like ever
Hmm.
wrongly. You know.
Yeah. I one of the biggest things to me that's like really ridiculous is like the amount of like this is kind of random, but it's kind of on that like point, but like the amount of reporters that are like falsely imprisoned for like espionage in different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Yeah.
one of the many things.
Well, and like reporters will get killed in like the Middle East and stuff. Like that's
Mhm.
some shit that I could see myself dying. Like in, say we have like a bunch of different realities. I think in a few of them, I'm like some reporter in the Middle East. Like I would do some crazy shit like that. And
You'd get captured and
yeah, like I am kind of a reporter right now. So like I could see myself doing that in a crazy country.
yeah. But
I don't know.
scary.
I think our world has a lot of healing to do that I hope it'll do over our lifetime.
Yeah, I hope
I
so
hope
too.
I I really hope that we can avoid war with all these different countries and just I don't know. It's crazy that there are billionaires out there that have all the money that is needed to like help Africa
and
and
just
like they
don't
just
do
don't,
anything.
you know? They just don't. Like if I was one of those guys and maybe because I'm this person I'll never become a multi-billionaire so then I would never have the chance to do this, but I just feel like you should be giving all that away, you know?
Yeah. Give back to the
What's
world.
more important? What's more important than helping people? Like what gives you a
Amazing.
better rush? Like in terms if even if you're talking like dopamine or whatever, it like makes you feel good to help people. Like when you give someone something, you feel good. Like that's how it should
I think
be.
though to be like a CEO, you kind of have to have like somewhat of sociopathic tendencies. I think that like
But that's
if
a
you're
good
gonna
thing
be in a
because I have
position like that,
sociopathic tendencies. Like that's the good thing. Is like I feel like I could do that because I technically am a little sociopathic and I think you are too like a little bit. Like am I right?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just
Like
not someone that like does the whole feelings thing.
there you go. And you can turn that shit off sometimes and it's kind of weird. But
Yeah,
like I can go into like hermit mode. Like I could care about nothing but work for like months and just obsess over it. But,
yeah, I feel that.
like I don't really want to right now because I'm not in the place in my life where I really want to do that. But like I know at some point I'm going to go into work mode and just create things for like years. I just don't know if it'll be quite yet. But
I can't wait to wash this off of my hand. This is what
can you
happens
show
when
me
I leave pens in
your
my bed.
progress? What do you mean? That looks good.
It's literally just chaos.
Nah, it looks good.
Uh, I'm just writhing. We need to like. I wish we could see how long the recording has been going.
Oh, we've been talking for like a couple hours at
A
least.
few hours.
Yeah, how late of a night are you trying to make this? I know it's a Thursday.
Um, well, we can keep talking, but we should end the past soon so that you don't have a million hours to edit through.
Okay. So, guys, we're going to call this the first episode and
Episode number 1, the pilot.
we're going to see you next time when we actually think of some topics beforehand, but it's important to flush out like the bad stuff. So we have to have a few bad episodes before we really get into like the swing of things. Hopefully you guys
Yeah, it'll be a
Rome
little
wasn't built
chaotic
in
until
a
we
day.
get our. Yeah,
Rome wasn't
you
built
know
in
what
a
it
day.
was?
We're laying the
That one like
foundation.
bridge thing in freaking mythology. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, there's this story about this like bridge that was built in a day, and then they talk about how like it doesn't matter. It's not important.
No,
Anyways,
I'm very interested.
there's like this like thing in like there was a war going on in like I don't remember if it was like Rome or Greece or whatever. But like the bridge was built in a day.
The Bridge of Arta? Arta?
Um,
Bridge of the Gods.
I don't know.
I'm getting nothing. See, we need Jamie from the Joe Rogan podcast to pull this shit up for us.
Hold up. No, give me
I searched bridge that was
bridge.
built in a day mythology.
Oh my goodness. It was during a war.
Like a mythical one?
No, like an actual. I need to talk to my freaking history teacher about this. I'm gonna contact my middle school history teacher,
We will
Miss
get back to
Richards,
you with that information on the second
with the
episode,
information
which
on the
will be
bridge.
entirely
The
about
introduction is about the
mythological.
bridge.
The introduction will be about the bridge, and we'll have follow-up questions regarding mythology and whether it could be real or not, and whether we might be going to Valhalla. We'll be
Absolutely.
back with that information. Cheers,
Well,
everybody. Peace out.
have a good night.
Goodbye. Goodbye.